Okay. All right, so this is page 40 of the proofs of angle, side angle, and angle, angle, side. All right, the difference here, if you look at this proof, what do you notice down below? Answer choices. See how you can fill in the blanks? So I'm hoping with the answer choices we'll be able to recognize some things. However, how do you always start a proof? Before you can even say anything about this picture, you got to do what? Yeah, put the given down. So angle V is congruent to angle Y. Do you mark angles with tick marks or loops? Loops, good. So angle V is congruent to angle Y. That's a loop and a loop. All right, next thing, I see the word bisect. If you see the word bisect in your given, you're probably going to have the word bisect down here somewhere. Okay, so just a little hint, when you read this, pay attention to the verbiage they use. All right, Z, no, that's W, WZ, that thing, bisects angle VWY. So find angle VWY. VWY. VWY, is that top angle? Okay, what's it mean if that line bisected that angle? It created two what? Not equal sides, equal angles. So we need two loops. We need two loops in that one and two loops in this one. And the reason I knew it was that angle that gets the loops is because it said it bisected that angle. So that means it cuts it into two. All right, now we've done everything with the given, so you want to ask yourself, like Kahoot, is this congruent? You got enough information to say this triangle is congruent to that one? Okay, what do you all think? Why? They share a side in the middle, CZW. So yeah, you can add a tick mark to that. And since we're going to do that right now, let's look down in the body of our proof and see if we see it. Do you guys see where that one would go in your proof?
What was the question?
ZW, I just added tick marks to it, right? I just added tick marks. So if you add tick marks, you have to write it down here. Where would that go down below? There's a hint. Yeah, isn't reflexive mean same thing equal to itself?
Yeah.
So if number 2 says reflexive, then 2 over here has to be the same thing equal to itself. Look down below. Do you see that as a choice? Yeah, right here. ZW is congruent to ZW. ZW is congruent to ZW. All right, mark that off. We have that one down. Okay, now let's go to, are the triangles congruent? Back to that. And I need your opener today. So are the triangles congruent? What do you think? Jabbar, you want to tell us? Do you know? Like side, side, side. They are congruent. Is it side, 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 angle, side, or angle, angle, side? Which one?
Is the one with all angles?
You cannot have angle, 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 but it has a lot of angles here, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then you're going to start at a mark, okay? So let's say you start at V. V would tell you it's a what? Angle, right? And which direction would you have to go? You'd have to, yeah, you'd have to go up this way. So that would give you what?
Angle, angle, side.
Angle, angle, side. AAS. Angle, angle, side. Okay? So angle, angle, side. All right, perfect. Now that you know the triangles are congruent, angle, angle, side goes at the end. Do you see angle, angle, side down here?
No.
Uh-oh. Actually, I made a typo. That was supposed to say AAS, and it says the bad word backwards. So mark that off. This should say angle, angle, side. That is my fault. I have a typo. All right, if you put this here, what do you put on the opposite side? The triangle congruent part. So we should know that that goes there, and that is down here in your proof. So triangle VWZ is congruent to triangle YWZ. So mark that off. And then we still got to write down one other thing. Well, how about our given and given? You already know that, right? Okay, so let's put given up here. It's the one in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one in the middle for I'm just going to draw an arrow and put that, and mark that off. Okay, and we have that last line that we didn't do. So you have to figure out where you put tick marks that you still have to write down. Does anyone have any idea? Look at your choices of what's left. Is side, side, side a possibility? No, that wouldn't make any sense. What about definition of midpoint? Was anything a midpoint? No, so that's gone. What's left? Definition of bisector and two angles equal. Is that what happened in our proof? Yeah, so that's what you're going to copy. Definition of bisector goes on the reasons or the statements? Which one? Reasons. So definition of bisector, remember, that was the word that split that angle. So that's why we have an angle equal to an angle. So angle VWZ is congruent to angle YWZ, and that's because of definition of bisector. Now, I also want you to know, you can have an angle bisector, as we have here. You can also have a segment bisector. If you have a segment bisector, then it creates two equal what? If you have a segment bisector, it would make two equal segments. So, given that this looks like this, is this an angle bisector or is this a segment bisector? Angle, because it's two equal angles. And it says right here, it bisects an angle. That's how I know it's two equal angles.
What's segment mean?
Segment, a piece.
Okay.
So if they told you, now this is not what's happening in this proof, but let's just pretend. If they told you ZW bisected segment VY, here's VY from here to here. If you bisect that segment, now you created two equal pieces, okay? That's what a segment bisector is. All right, good question. Anybody else? All right, let's go down to this last one. All right, some of this stuff is already marked, but a lot is not. So same thing, we got our choices again. So what goes up, first mark your picture. PQ is congruent to QS, or not congruent, what's that symbol mean? Perpendicular. Is that already marked in your picture? Yep, see the 90 right there? And then RS is perpendicular to QS. Is that already marked? Yep, okay. It says T is the midpoint of PR. So everybody find PR. PR is this diagonal, right? And T is the midpoint. What's a midpoint do? If something's a midpoint, then what's true? You have two equal sides. Very good. So that yellow line that I just highlighted, we have to give it tick marks because they are equal. So we're going to put a tick mark here and a tick mark here. All right, that would be all you would get on Kahoot. What do you think? Is that enough? You can put an angle in the middle, right? The vertical angles. Okay, very good. So if I put a vertical angle and a vertical angle, now do I have enough? Yes, I do. Lavelle, what way would it be? Yeah, angle, angle, side. You think right. Angle, angle, side. Okay, so fill in step 5. He just told us angle, angle, side. Bless you. Angle, angle, side's right there. So AAS. We know what goes over here. If we put angle, angle, side, you got to put triangle congruent to triangle. So triangle PQT is congruent to triangle RST. Cross them off. Okay, what else is going to go up there? Given. Let's fill in the given. You want to do shortcut again and just circle and point? Okay, circle and point. All right, and let's look at our choices. Oh, okay, that would cross off this one. This one right here, the last column, that middle one is the given. So mark that off so we don't get confused with it. Okay, how about, what do you see down here, guys? Look down here. What kind of things did we use? What kind of words down below were in your given? Perpendicular, very good. So we're probably going to use definition of perpendicular. Definition of perpendicular would go with what? That's going to go on this side. Anybody got an idea on what's going to go on the left side of definition of perpendicular? Like, what does that one match with? Perpendicular makes what? Perpendicular make what kind of angles? 90 degree or starts with an R? Right angles. So find the one down here that talks about right angles. Not that one yet. This one.
Yeah, that one.
We want the one with notation. So that's going to go on the left, that's going to go on the right. So angle PQT and angle RST are right angles. And the reason I know that is definition of perpendicular. I realize that's a lot to write, but that's what you should write there. Yeah.
So how do we know how to write this? Like, if you give it to us all by ourselves?
You won't. You'll have it choices. And then number 3, if those, so now that you know those are perpendicular, now that other one that talked about right angles, where's that other one that talked about right angles? Right angles are congruent is now going to go on line 3. So since these are right angles, line 3 over here is going to say right angles are congruent. And then on the left, we have to put what angles are congruent, the two right angles that were equal. So that was angle PQT and angle RST. Those are the right angles, angle PQT and angle RST. Okay? All right, we got one more thing we still have to write in our proof. So that took care of the 90.
Is it definition of midpoint?
Yes, I think, oh my gosh, this is bad. I have another typo on this page. Because did we talk about vertical angles yet either? No. Miss Helmers, you're messing up here. All right, so we got to add another line too. But like Charles said, we didn't mention definition of midpoint yet, did we? Okay, so let's put on number 4, definition of midpoint. Definition of midpoint's going to go there. What was equal because of the definition of midpoint?
PT and TR.
Yeah, PT and TR. Remember that was that yellow segment up there? So PT is congruent to TR, definition of midpoint. And then before we put those lines, those triangles are congruent, we still have to talk about vertical angles. So I apologize, it's missing a line. So what do you think for vertical angles? Which ones are going to match up for vertical angles? This one is going to match with what? Which one over here are the vertical angles? Is it the top one or the second one? Gabrielle, do you know? Yeah, top one. So we're going to write vertical angles congruent. And then we're going to put angle QTP is congruent to angle RTS. All right, so I apologize, but we have a typo. I should have left you another space.